shopping around for aftermarket accessories for your Nerf blaster, or you're buying 3D printed blasters or 3D printed parts for your blasters or printing them out yourself, so forth, you'll probably notice something weird about some of the rails on these things. It's actually becoming more and more common, but if you were to, say, buy a Nerf Modulus Strike and Defend stock here, it will have an N-Strike rail on it, and this is a standardized system for Nerf. An N-Strike rail attachment will fit on the top of this. It will click into place and it will work pretty okay. But it's not great. Some are better than others, but let's just say that's not exactly awesome. And well, there's a solution for that, because these blasters, for instance, the Gavin Fuzzy Spam Kit has one right there. This is a worker rail that you can screw into the bottom of it. And then you've got the worker swordfish here, but with the vector kit for the Strife, there's rails on it as well. These rails are known as Picatinny, and this is a standardized system that's used not only in real firearms, but also in like airsoft guns and so forth. So theoretically, accessories that are made for airsoft and or real steel firearms should work on these rails, and they're quite a bit different than your standard Nerf rail. They're a completely different shape, the spacing on the rails are completely different, and of course Nerf accessories won't fit on there, and most Picatinny accessories won't fit on there, so yeah, you've kind of got yourself into a situation where you might have to buy something that's actually meant for like a real firearm or airsoft to complete your blaster's look if you so chose. And that opens up a whole kind of can of worms, which means theoretically, if I want to take off this vector foregrip for the Strife, this is made by Worker, it's got their logo and everything, I could throw this on like an AR-15 if I wanted to. The insanity of that is just now settling in for me. But something that I've been interested in is optics, because Worker doesn't make any optics for their blasters as far as I know, and the Nerf ones are completely freaking useless. Most of the time they're just plastic things with reticles in them that don't magnify or do anything at all. They're no better than normal iron sights. You can't sight them into anything, so they're practically useless. And yet, if you were using something that shot like, well, maybe not this Strife, although it is reasonably accurate using something like the Adventure Force Wafflehead dart here, it's not exactly going to hit the same point at like 100 feet every time. There's really no point in sighting this kind of thing in, although you can get some use out of some kind of optic for that. However, if you were to upgrade yourself to maybe the Worker short dart, these things are a heck of a lot more accurate, and even with like a stock kind of brass barrel and stuff like that, you can reasonably hit a target at 100 feet with these things, as long as your blaster has the FPS capable of hitting that far. These things fire straight and true pretty much every single time. And if you have a very powerful blaster like a modified Longshot or Caliburn with a Scar barrel which has strings in it that are meant to impart spin to a dart to make it more accurate, that's where things get really spicy. And at that point, not only would you probably want some kind of optic for it, but you'd also even want maybe even a magnifying scope. And so tying in today's actual video, I was sent a couple of cool things from TacticalXmen.com. I was actually sent two of the same site, and I was moderately interested in this. They just sent me an email saying, hey, is there anything on our site you'd like to take a look at? And I was interested in getting a sight, and these ones kind of sung out to me, because these are like a micro red dot, a really small sight, which is something I'm really interested in. I really like the pistols with the red dot sights on them. I think those are really freaking cool. I don't have one myself, but that's something I kind of want to get in the very near future, and well, these ones are kind of interesting because they're flip up. They're called flip dot reflex sights from, I believe the company is called VISM. I open up the very nice, sturdy plastic casing here. We've got instructions, we've got a riser rail, we've got the actual optic itself, and some hardware with another plate on it. Go ahead and fold that up and put it away, and there's actually two of them. And they're actually in different colors, which I thought was interesting, because most of the time you get the stuff, it's like an OD green or a flat black. This one's bright red, which is awesome, and this one's a bright orange, which matches Nerf, which is even more awesome. And you'll notice these things look really weird, because, well, how do you use something that looks like this? And that's where the magic starts. I thought a flip-up sight was going to be something where I just kind of lift it up and it would click into place and be like, oh, cool, I've got a sight. These ones are spring-loaded, and you automatically know that makes it awesome, because if I press this little tiny release lever on the side, you'll notice it flips up. And not only does it flip up, it actually turns on the red dot, which means there's a little laser dot back here that will actually shine on the glass, which is awesome. I thought that was brilliant, and I'm really, really smitten with these things. That being said, I'm not exactly like an optic reviewer, so maybe I'm not the best person to talk about the specifics of an optic, although there are actual like things in these that say things like it's 22mm by 16mm, it's a 1x magnification, it's a red dot, the dot size is 3 MOA, which I believe stands for minute of angle, which is how much it adjusts each time you adjust the sight, how far the dot moves. The battery type is a CR2032, which is a pretty common battery, and the length, width, weight, and all that kind of stuff. And it says fold OMG lens assembly, but the rest of it's actually in English. Mounts directly onto Glock MOS pistols and will fit mounts RMR cut slides with a supplied riser. That's what all this stuff is. So they come on some kind of plate right there, but you can remove that plate, and I believe that's how you would change the battery, but you can also attach it to this, which would then let it attach to the rail on our blaster. And these things are completely adjustable. You can move the laser and sight it in, which I thought was pretty freaking nifty. I mean, this is a common thing on sights, and the quality of a sight kind of has to do with how well it keeps its sight like zeroed in, so that thing doesn't actually shift after you've moved it and sighted it in. I don't really have a good test for that right now. I did read some reviews elsewhere on the internet, and I found that some people who put these on actual firearms found that these things have a tendency to flip closed after you fire them, so they were not exactly all that useful, although I'm guessing your mileage may vary, but for my applications, that shouldn't be a problem. And I really like how small these are, and the fact that they fold down makes it even better. Like, that just looks cool. And then you flip, and it turns on the actual, it's so cool. I mean, yes, I was sent these completely for free. I was not paid for this video, but I was sent a cool thing for free to do a video on, and these are kind of pricey. These are like $56 right now on tacticalxmen.com. And is that worth it? Well, that's a lot to pay for one little accessory, although it's not a lot to pay for these things at all. These things can get so actual expensive, but what's the difference between like a $20 one, a $15 one, a $55 one or $56 one, and a $130 or $300 one? Well, that's the quality. And these ones right off the bat, if I were to like judge them just based on outward appearance, I don't really have a lot of time to check to see if these things are going to keep their zero or not. So if you're buying these for like real steel firearms, be warned. However, the actual finish on them is pretty decent. They're not perfect. There's some scratch marks, some rough machining marks and so forth on them, but the actual mechanics work completely fine. And they do something that I haven't seen another sight do, which is, yeah, not only does it turn off when you flip it down, but flipping it up activates everything and it folds down and it flips up, and that's pretty much all I need. It actually does have little back iron sights right there and a little front bump right there if your battery happens to die when you're using it. Not sure how useful that's going to be, but that is a thing you can do. And I think I've had enough talk. I kind of want to put these on the actual blasters themselves. I'm most likely going to put one on the front of my Gavin Fuzzy Falcon Fire Spamf kit here, because this has a rail on the front of it, and I really want to use that. This is accurate enough, although it's only hitting like 130 FPS, it's accurate enough that something like this could be a lot of fun. So we're going to have to take off the bottom plate and attach the thing to this, which should be a lot of fun. So they do give you all the tools you should need, screws, so forth. You also get a little tiny, the tiniest flathead screwdriver for adjusting things. Just gonna flip that up, grab the bigger wrench here, unscrew this, remove this plate. There's the battery right there, so it's easily replaceable if you have an Allen wrench on you. And then these longer screws will attach it to the rail, and then we can use the smaller Allen key to unscrew this. Unfortunately, it's not a quick disconnect, which would probably be cooler, but we'll take what we can get. Put our screws through. Oh, this is just all sorts of silly, but now I can flip that up, and I can hold the pistol out, and yep, I'll have to edit the actual dot itself. But you can see the idea there, and then when I'm not using it, I can push it down, and if I'm really just carrying it around, I can slip the rubber case back on, and that'll protect it from any kind of harm. And that's just all sorts of silly, but the idea here, of course, is that that's a lot easier to aim through than, say, all front post, rear post, all that kind of stuff, especially on the Falcon Fire when there's like 3 sets of rear posts and then 1 single front post I think that's a little bit better. I'll have to sand the rail down a little bit more to make it even. You get the idea. These things are super duper cool. I'm really, really happy with them, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun with these. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to like put one of these plates on a blaster so it can be absolutely the lowest profile it can be, but I am very, very happy with those. If you're interested in something crazy like this for your blaster or your airsoft gun or anything like that, there's a link down in the description below to Tactical X-Men where you can pick yours up, and you could use the code OPTICS to save yourself 10% or code Walcom S7 to save yourself 10%. Either way, you can save yourself some money. That is just goofy and cool at the same time. Sound off down in the comment section if you think something like this is actually worth getting. Well, I mean, for a lot of you, it's not. But if you think it's cool, I'd like to know, because I thought it was pretty freaking cool. But other than that, I'm Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching this video. And of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one.
You gotta